Hey, this is Craig from the Paul Merriman Foundation. Paul and I recently got together to discuss We're Talking Millions. A couple hours later, we realized we had a wonderful deep dive on each of the 12 simple steps recommended in the book, and that it would be best for you if we split it into two parts. I hope you enjoy this first part, where we discuss steps 1 through 5 of We're Talking Millions.
Well, this is a very special presentation tonight. I am thrilled to have the opportunity to share this information because it is something not only near and dear to my heart and near and dear to my brain, as it turns out, but we came out, as most of you know, with a new book about a year ago. And we made a pitch. We made a pitch for the idea that if you did the things that Rich, Buck, and I wanted you to do, if you chose the path that we wanted you to go, and there was never really more than one or maybe two other choices, and that we thought every one of those was $1 million decision. But it didn't quite get explained at that time the way I wanted it to be explained. So I'm here partly tonight to explain it my way, not Rich's way. By the way, Rich and I have been working together for 30 years, so he's a great partner to have. But he doubted me. He doubted me when I made the point, Rich, each one of these decisions is not just about $1 million. It is about $1 million more than you would have gotten going the other direction, taking the other path. And then, as luck would have it, and by the way, luck, I think in everybody's life is a major factor. And when I look back at the luck that I've had, the people I've met along the way, like Rich, like my son. I mean, I had no idea what he was going to be in my life when he was born, but he ended up basically being my boss at one time, and a great boss he was too. And then Dennis Tilley, the one of the finest market timers I've ever met. And then Tom Cock came along, and I met him, and he joined us, and he introduced me on how to do radio and how to do a podcast. And all of these people, but then there was Chris Pedersen who came along and brought us Two Funds for Life and the Best in Class ETF series, and Daryl Balls who came along. And by the way, I had known Daryl for probably 20 years before he came along and became part of the team. All luck that they became available at the time that I guess I needed them. And in fact, Asian Griffin, who has been with me since day number 1 of this foundation, I just happened to meet her at a book writers conference in San Miguel de Allende. She was a teacher, and I was a willing student. And then we worked together for, 10 plus years now. So then you always wonder when your luck's going to run out. Well, then this year came along, and along came the guy who's here with me tonight, and that's Craig Apple. Craig kind of he didn't walk in the door. In the old days, he would have walked in the door. Maybe he would have sent me a snail letter or whatever, but no, he sent me an email, and he offered to bring a piece of software to this organization in the hopes that it would help the people who are following the work that all these other great people have helped put together, putting that money to work in a calculator that people could then do their own testing, do their own numbers crunching to find out what would have happened if. And as you all know, we live purely in a what if business, because you can make your futures up. But what we tend to do is we look backwards and we say, what if we had put money into that strategy? And Craig has made it so dirt simple. for you to be able to test all of the academic research that we relied on to give you the numbers to build your decisions. So why we're here tonight is that Craig knows my desire to convince people that yes, each one of these is in fact $1 million decision. And he said, why don't we just put it to the test? Why don't we kill two birds with one stone? And that would be that we would both teach people what the calculator, the lifetime investment calculator, which looks at you as an accumulator while you're growing your assets for retirement, or it looks at you and works with you and shows you what it's like to be in the distribution phase of your life. So what we're going to do, and I think this is a great idea, Craig, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each one of those 12 major decisions that come when you follow the book. We're talking millions, 12 simple ways to supercharge your retirement. We're going to put each one of them to the task to make the case that, yes, it is $1 million additional decision. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to introduce Craig, and I think most of you know Craig. If you've been following the calculator, certainly you do. And he's going to get us started in the right direction, and then he's going to let me introduce each of the 12 decision points. And then he's going to take it back and he's going to show us the evidence. Now, I want you to notice we never call it the proof, because the proof would suggest guarantee. This is only evidence. And so we're going to watch the evidence, and then I'm going to weigh back in with some additional comments if I feel like there's something more that I saw or wanted to address. And then we move on to number 2. So, Craig, thank you for coming up with this great idea. And thank you for bringing the calculator to our organization and to the tens of thousands of people who are following our work. It is a blessing. Thank you. And why don't you get us started? And in fact, there may even be a few people that don't know about your calculator. So start wherever you wish, but help convince us that those $1 million decisions are good.
Well, thank you so much, Paul. And I have to say, this this book, and I do have a hard copy, is incredible. I can't, I got it a few months ago, actually, because I was working through all the PowerPoint, the podcast content. And when I read it, I really realized, hey, we can actually use this tool to prove each of these 12 steps. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And we actually use the lifetime investment calculator, and we're going to use some other tools to prove some of them as well, where the calculator isn't fully functional. So what I'll do first is I'll go ahead and share my screen. So I'll be sharing screen and going back to video a bit in this presentation. I'll share my screen and give you just a brief overview of the calculator and the layout so that I can orient everyone. We'll talk about, I'll show you the 12 steps as they are presented in the book. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say that the book is freely available as a PDF right now. So if you sign up at paulmerriman.com for the newsletter, you get automatic free access to We're Talking Millions. And you can both read the book and follow along as we go through this presentation. Feel free at any moment to pause, rewind. There's a whole lot of content that we're going to go through in this one. So I'll start sharing my screen. Right, I wonder if that went up. No, it didn't go. 1 second. Okay, and Paul, can you confirm that you're able to see my screen now?
I can.
Perfect. So this is our lifetime investment calculator homepage. It provides an overview of the calculator. It provides a description of each of the entries or parameters that you can add. We have some frequently asked questions, links to other videos. So if you want more information, you feel free to add or go and click on those videos in the YouTube channel. So I'll scroll up, and this is the primary calculator. I always like to make this calculator full screen, and you do that by clicking the button in the bottom right-hand corner. We use Tableau, which is the technical software that the calculator is built on. And just to provide a brief layout, I wanted to share that on the right-hand side, these are all of the parameters. Okay, so you're able to choose between the foundation strategies. You can identify different equity or fixed income allocations. You can show nominal or real returns. Identify any starting year, which is the first sequence year. You can choose a duration up to 200 years, enter any starting value. You can change the historical returns, and then enter information about contributions and distributions. If you're looking for a detailed explanation of each of these parameters and how they affect the calculation, you can find that on our website just below the calculator. On the left-hand side is the data and where the calculations are. We have in the far left columns the years, the sequence of returns, any contribution that you may be putting, and then we have the equity and fixed income allocations. And so during this presentation, you'll see me toggle the parameters on the right-hand side, and the views will change in the middle and on the left. So for example, if I choose 100% stocks and 0% bonds over in the equity and fixed income allocation, you'll see that it quickly toggles just to one column. And this will actually be our primary view for most of the presentation. All right. So you will also see me frequently refresh. That's a good exercise. If you ever want to start over, you're able to just hit the refresh button on your browser, and it'll go right back to those default settings every time. So we're talking millions. I have the 12 steps here. I'm going to put up on a slide. And so these are the 12 steps that are presented in the book. And we're going to go through each of them. And we're going to, one by one, present the case of how each step can add an additional $1 million over a long investment period. You know, actually, why don't you go and download the PDF right now? Feel free to pause the video because then you'll have it in front of you, right? You'll have everything that I'm talking about right in front of you in the same screen. So that actually, okay, yeah, sign up for the newsletter and, and go get the free PDF. If you're so inclined, you like the hard copy, that's available on Amazon, of course. Each of these stages, we have a kind of a common scenario that we're going to present. So when we're talking millions, we're looking over a 40-year accumulation period. So someone who starts at age 20 or 25, and then they save from that period until they turn 65. The common scenario that we're going to show is saving $5,000 per year for that accumulation period. And then once they hit 65, we're going to show an additional 30 years of living off of what they've accumulated. Right? Another kind of tidbit is that all of the growth is in nominal terms. So that means it does include inflation. As you know, that has a significant impact. But you know, in many cases, we have multiple millions of dollars of returns and results. So that's the setup. The starting year, for simplicity, again, we've got a great deal of content in this presentation. So we'll most often start with the first year of 1970, but you can start any year that you choose when you're going through and working with the lifetime investment calculator. So with that, I will go ahead and hand it back to you, Paul, to talk about our first